Good afternoon, Canes fans. Peter Ariz here, bringing you today's edition of the Instant Reaction Pod. Miami beats Virginia Tech, stays alive here in this playoff discussion, and the dream is alive, man. I mean, they are on the precipice of history. They are on the cusp of really, I would say, the program being as healthy as it's been since the Butch Davis era. You know, we had that glimmer of hope with Mark Richt, where you had 9 wins, then 10 wins there. And, you weren't able to build off that. Obviously, Coach Richt, had his situation. He ends up stepping down, and then we know what happened from there. But you're on the cusp of that, of being as healthy of a program as you've been in 23 plus years. You're on the cusp of 10 in a row. But I got to say, until that last touchdown there, the committee was going to look at this as a loss. And we all wanted to go out there and win this game by 40 points. They still salvage, of course, the 17-point win, not a cover. You guys hear me talk about that a lot. I think it was 17.5-point favorites in this game, but still very important for them to score at the end there. I think we have to look at a few different things here. One, Carson Beck, to me, best game in that he's played from start to finish as a Hurricane, 27 of 32. Malachi Toney, D-Money just called me, said that he actually called this one on the number, 146 yards for Malachi Toney today. But, just looking at my notes here, because yeah, man, the way that these announcers are talking, Louis Riddick and Babu Shuzen called the game, and they were mentioning it a lot. Miami needs to score here. Miami's probably going to want to score here. Miami's going to want to put another on the board to impress the committee. The committee, up until that score, was going to look at this game as a loss for Miami, and this is why you can't put any faith in what this playoff committee is gonna be looking like here moving forward. You need anarchy, you need chaos, you need teams to lose. We can't get caught up in that. And I apologize again. I've given you guys some negative post games here. I'm not always rah-rah. I'm not always yelling here to talking about the boa constrictor. Like, the offense looked phenomenal. At the same time, only scored 7 points there in the second half, I believe, or up until the end. I'm still thinking about them not scoring there up until that point. But you score 7 points up until the last touchdown drive there, which you knew they were going to try to push the ball into the end zone. So didn't necessarily finish drives. Defensively, shakiest performance of the year, I would say, in terms of the run game for sure. I mean, what was their total on the ground? Almost 200, 194, 5.2 yards a carry. Kyron Drones really neutralized him for the most part, but still made us a couple plays there that you knew he was capable of. But look, Miami's defense really, to me, did a solid job in terms of keeping everything in front of them. But that run game was not necessarily there. Just didn't finish some of these pass rushing opportunities either. You lose Jacoby Thomas, so I wish I had a better tone for this game right now, but you lose Jacoby Thomas. You now don't have Keontae Scott. You don't have David Blay, as Kyle's saying. OJ out as well. Good to see Mark Fletcher back in this one. And I really, I have to try to separate what we saw there in the late portion of the game until we scored the touchdown at the end from the last 3 weeks here, because I give this coaching staff all the credit in the world. I give not only Mario Cristobal, not only the coordinators, but the position coaches. As I mentioned in the middle part of the year, in this NIL era, how can you keep that group together if there's certain guys who aren't playing? A JoJo Trader, for example, you look at what he did late in that game to move the chains for Miami on the third down, right? Great curl route, great catch, nice timing there with Carson Beck, and you end up scoring a touchdown there. So you got to give credit to the position coaches within these rooms for keeping a guy like JoJo Trader mentally locked in, mentally focused, where you're in the second to last game of the season. He's making a critical play for you late in the game. So the vibes in terms of the locker room the last few weeks, as I've mentioned, I think they've been very, very good. This has not been, as we've seen, and this is why I'm saying we got to separate what we've seen in the portion of this game, what we saw in that first half against Stanford, what we saw for most of that first half against Syracuse. You saw some of that seep into this second half here. So I'm trying to separate all of that from the big picture of this team has kept it together. This team losing 2 out of 3 weeks, that thing could have really gone downhill. That thing could have gotten really ugly. And I was concerned that it could do that. I was concerned that that's where this thing was headed. Obviously, that was not the case. You still have to finish the mission here. You've got to win 10 games. You've got to make history. You've got to, again, level out. What is the floor of this program? The floor of this program, which means as bad as it can be, is don't make a bowl game. The ceiling, we'll see what the ceiling is. I don't know that answer has been determined just yet. But when you start to get your floor at 9-10 wins a year, it's way better than 7 years on average in the last 23. So how do they take that next step? That's going to be the great debate. We'll see what happens. Listen, I'm going to leave that playoff discussion for the D Moneys of the world, the Mike Ryans of the world. That's above my pay grade. That playoff discussion, we have zero influence over that. I know what they're going to tell you. I'm not going to send a single tweet out, and I apologize to you guys if that offends you. I'm not going to be one of these people who's writing articles about why Miami should be in the playoff. That's not my job. That's not my job. And the people who think that they're going to have an influence over by saying something are deluded. I'm not going to do that. So I apologize to you guys if you think that that's my role. It's not. Just win these last 2 games. Now 1. Convincing enough? We'll see what the committee says. I have zero faith in it. I have absolutely zero faith in what these people are going to say about this win. They make up certain things to fit their narrative. They could very well say, well, listen, we didn't move Miami up this week, or we dropped them. Someone jumped them. I don't know. Let's say a USC beats Oregon. They could say, well, if you watch the game against Virginia Tech, it was really a 10-point game until Miami scored a touchdown and then garbage time. We have no idea what they're going to say. So to put our faith in that committee, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. So we can all be hopeful that they go out and win, and they win this next game. They win number 10. I think that's what, as Hurricane fans, that's all we can root for. That's all we can cheer for. Anything else above our pay grade. We have no say in that. Zero. We've got to hope that crazy things happen. We've got to hope that Cincinnati beats BYU tonight. We've got to hope that Auburn knocks off Alabama next week. And by the way, there's still no guarantee that they don't put a 3-loss Alabama in the playoff. I don't think it'll happen, but Mississippi State, could they knock off an Ole Miss? You need something crazy to happen. If I'm a Canes fan, that's what I'm rooting for. That's what Vanderbilt, as Mo Kane says. That's what I'm rooting for, right? So, just some other things about this game, right? As I've been kind of just talking generally about this season and where we're at, and like it wasn't a perfect performance today, but you have to still give this coaching staff credit for keeping it together. And I don't know about you guys, but I was watching the game with some buddies, and I said, yes, we want to be I wish we didn't lose to Louisville or SMU. I wish that this wasn't a discussion, right? But would you rather not be playing me? I love seeing that number 13 next to Miami's name today. I love playing a meaningful game the week before Thanksgiving. You know how many years we've been out of this discussion as a whole? And yes, it's an expanded playoff now, but do you know how many these ACC scenarios that we're talking about now to maybe get an 8? That's what we had to hope for to win the ACC before, is a 7-win, 8-win team. So to me, that level has been absolutely raised, right? And we have to be thankful for that. I understand if you were around listen, I saw 01. I was very young. But if you were around for the ones before that, of course, I understand where your standard is going to be. That's not realistic, though. Just like the people who think it's going to be realistic that we tweet a couple times or we do a couple shows about the playoff and it's going to make any difference. Those people are going to make whatever decisions they want to justify to get whatever teams in. Hey, it may work out in Miami's favor. Miami might end up making it because, you know what? They're a little bit more, in terms of the ratings, a little sexier than the next team. Maybe they get in over a BYU or a Utah when it comes down to it. Maybe it does work out in Miami's favor, but I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm not going to get stressed out about it. And as Bagging Up says, we may get dropped. Like, dude, if they didn't score that touchdown there, I don't think you guys understand how they were going to look at this as a loss for Miami. So they are already, they are going to have this built in. Oh, well, you know, you really look at that Miami game and it wasn't as convincing of a win as the score says, which you could easily say that about how Miami played against Notre Dame earlier in the year. Was a much more convincing win. So I'm getting worked up about stuff that I said I wouldn't get worked up about. And I apologize for doing that, but I'm giving you an idea of like why none of this stuff to me is something that we should get worked up about. I got to give a few guys a shout out. Justin Scott has turned it up week after week. That is a future top 100 NFL pick. He is becoming one of the most consistent forces on Miami's defense right now. He was living in the backfield today, 2.5 tackles for loss, but flashing. I mean, in the backfield all day long. Just absolutely. Him and Ahmad Moten controlled the interior there for Miami in terms of the pass rush, for sure. I mean, they got in the backfield. They made some plays against the run, but really on first watch here, I haven't obviously watched on replay, but Virginia Tech was running at the ends of Miami. They were, you know, you understand Bain and Mesidor are going to be very aggressive, trying to get upfield, trying to get after the quarterback. And it just seemed like they were getting washed out, you know, a bit today. So we'll see what happens moving forward. I think Mesidor was still flashing all over the place today. A little quieter game from Ruben Bain, which we understand that there's plays where they're throwing 3 different blockers at him. So the numbers are not always going to match the impact that he makes for the rest of his teammates and how he opens a lot of things up. We understand he's probably going to be a first-round pick here moving forward. But again, you got to give a lot of credit to Justin Scott to me was phenomenal today. Looking at some other numbers, Malachi Toney, again, 12 catches for 146 yards. The touchdown there at the end, he had that nice throw as well. How about Dalen Upshaw with that one-on-one on the third down? Carson Beck trusting him late in the game. To me, it was an awesome sign. You saw Dalen Upshaw. You saw JoJo Trader with late third down catches, moved the chains, and it was a big deal. Gerard Pringle, obviously, with that touchdown catch as well. So he had that wheel route, great throw, great catch. I thought for a second he might have bobbled it. Elijah Lofton with his touchdown early in the game there. Nice to see him involved. He got the first touch of the game as well. So offensively, you wanted to see them finish some of the drives there in the second half, but you can't complain about the efficiency. 27-32 for Beck, 320 yards, 4 touchdowns. Had one that probably could have been intercepted. When he in the fourth quarter, I believe it was, there, got some pressure, tried to step up, and he was probably lucky it wasn't picked off. But let me tell you, some of those throws that he was layering over linebackers, you know, over a cornerback, but before a safety, impressive, really, really impressive. He was in a groove today for the most part. Shannon Dawson got very creative out of a lot of pistol creativity today. Malachi Toney was using the backfield a lot. We saw him get the ball on some jet sweeps. We saw him throw the ball. So offensively, would have loved that 4 number in the box score there. But yeah, man. Guys, I've been locked in. I have not looked at the chat really. Mo, I'll get to the super chats right now. Appreciate your support. Mo says dominant win. Go Canes, one more win. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm struggling with this one a bit just because I don't know what the committee is going to think about it. Like, are they gonna look at it like, well, it was 27-17. They let them hang around. They didn't put a 3-win team out. we watched the game. We knew that Virginia Tech never really had a chance to win that one. And it was more dominant than the score showed. Probably should have scored 40 in this game. So that's where I'm struggling to be like, I agree. Like, this was, I think, a good performance offensively. A lot of positives to take away. A lot of positives. The run game wasn't perfect. I mean, you didn't have, great to see Fletcher back. He scores out of the backfield there, but 83 yards. I think that would probably be the biggest, negative here. Virginia Tech really tried to take that run game away, 2.8 yards a carry, but took what the defense was giving you, which was Carson Beck just spraying it all over the field there. Ben Marcus says, let's get rid of the commission for a real league. I mean, yeah, this is the calls. I don't know, the referees, I don't know what to say, man. There was some crazy stuff going on there, but I kind of feel like the playoff discussion at this point I'm just yelling at the wall. Like, it's not going to make a difference. And I'm sorry if some of you guys disagree with that, but I just think it's something that's out of our control. Mo Hussein says, thank you, Mario. Yeah, man, that floor's been raised. I know that's not the answer that everyone wants right now, but it's going to be nice going into next offseason with some top 10 expectations. We'll see who the quarterback is, but this program is it's in a different place, man. It's in a different place than it was. It's like I said, healthy would be the word that I describe. Yes, got to continue to make some moves to take the next step, but making changes just to make changes is not always the best thing in the world. You better love somebody says refs are horrible. Yeah, man, that was bad. Ben Marcus said committees are not part of a real sport. Yeah, so these committees are I would say go back to the computers if you can, and then throw the 12 teams in there. But there'll be complaints the other way. We tried to take the human element out of it before, and you wanted to now bring the human element back into it. But to me, it's really, and it's a convenient thing to say because it's what will end up keeping Miami out here, but it's more like that G5 spot. I'm a proponent of letting these smaller teams in, but can they be an undefeated team? Like, can there be a thing that says, like, you have to go undefeated if you've lost the game? I don't care who it's against. And yeah, that's going to stop some of these teams. But like, a lot of these teams already aren't playing teams that could knock them out. So to me, it's like, you got to be undefeated, and you've got to do it convincingly. Some of these teams in there, I don't know, man. It's that's a tough pill to swallow. But yeah, man, I don't know. Like, it's a good win, but you already know what it's going to sound like this week. So we'll see what happens with these rankings. Let's hope for BYU to lose. Let's hope for someone to drop a game they shouldn't. But yeah, let's go win 10 games. Let's raise that banner, back-to-back 10-win seasons for the first time in 23 years. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, staff. Go Canes. Hit that like and subscribe to the channel.